Welcome back everyone, I'm Kent-Blaze Games, this is EVE Online, and welcome back to our ridiculously stupid self-sufficiency run. Things are going alright. In fact, things are going better than alright, because off camera I did indeed go to the market and we bought the Capri Charger 1 blueprint. I found it just 4 jumps away. It's usually in a Mars space, but luckily Genesis region kind of branches into Galente region. So I managed to find it in Genesis, so we spent nearly $250,000 on that. We made one Capri Charger 1, and I stuck it on the Velator, and now our lovely little ship is completely maxed out, like power grid 0.0. We cannot fit any better than that. It's cap stable with both the afterburner and armor repairer and guns all running. So whenever we go into a fight, we'll just turn everything on and then concentrate on range and movement instead of worrying about capacitor and which modules are not turned on or off. So I left you at the end of the last episode saying we're going to have to think about shipping up. We cannot squeeze any more capabilities out of this little corvette. So we need to start thinking about frigates. So if we look on the market under ships, frigates, standard frigates, Galente, we have quite a few choices. We have the Atron, which is a small, fast ship, which gets 10% bonus to small hybrid turret fall off, which is range, and small hybrid turret damage, which is obviously damage. And its roam bonus is 80% reduction in propulsion jamming systems activation cost. That's things like web of fires, which you shoot at an enemy and it slows them down by 60%, which makes them easier to hit, and warp disruptors. So I made a fit for that. If we have a look here, this simulated Atron fitting, I fitted this out with the 3 blasters we have sitting around. Loaded it with antimatter because, you know, blasters are point blank range anyway. Even putting lead in them is not going to extend them much beyond 6 kilometers. So you might as well go antimatter and hit things with absolutely maximum DPS. And of course, because they're such short range weapons, we need to be able to move fast, so there's a micro-watt drive on this. Stasis web of fire to slow down the enemies by 50%, which helps our turrets hit them, because we'll have to be really close. A cap battery for cap, small armor repairer for repairs, a cap power relay for more cap, a micro auxiliary power core, because this thing basically has no power grid. This module adds an entire 10 megawatts of power grid, so the power grid without that would only be 46 and would be nowhere near fitting it. And I fitted a collision accelerator 1 and another collision accelerator 1 just to boost the damage up. The damage is only 72, but we're doing about, 30 on our ship at the moment. So this is more than double, but it's very high risk. It's stable once it's in range, so you just squirt the micro-watt drive to get into range and then turn it off, and then you're cap stable. But it's got no extra resistances. It just relies on getting close as fast as it can and killing things before they can kill it. A little bit too risky for my liking. There's also the Incursus, which is a tough little ship. This gets 7.5% bonus to armor repairer amount per level of Galente frigate skill, and 5% bonus to hybrid turret damage. So this is very much a frontline brawling ship. So let's have a look at the fit I made for that. This features 3 150mm railguns, which are the largest small railguns you can get. So we'll load them with antimatter charge. Even with antimatter, this is only doing 54 DPS, it's not huge. We have a 1 meganewton afterburner. It only moves at 832, but that's still faster than us. We're only going at 700 something. It's got a Capri Charger 1 here, and 2 cap power relays for capacitor. And it has a tracking computer 1 here, which we can then load with a charge, which is a optimal range charge, just to increase the range. So that puts the range of the 150 railguns all the way out to 15. Even though it's using the short range ammo, it's still 15 kilometers, which isn't too bad. And it has a magnetic field stabilizer 1 and a small armor repairer 1. Rigs, likewise, are a burst aerator and a collision accelerator. Burst aerator is rate of fire, collision is pure damage. So this is like a little tanky brawler. I mean, it repairs itself pretty good. It does like 13 hit points a second, and it does a decent amount of damage. But again, that needs to be within like 15 kilometers, and at that range, it doesn't have much range control because it doesn't have a web to stop the enemies. So then you'd probably think, oh, we'll just change over to iron and go for maximum range. Yeah, the range goes up to 31, and it targets out to 33. But then it's only doing 22 DPS, which is less than the ship we're in now, so let's not spend money on that. Then I had a look at a Tristan. Tristans are excellent ships, they're very versatile. Its bonuses per level of Galenti Frigate is 7.5% to small hybrid turret tracking speed, so that's accuracy, and 10% bonus to drone hit points and tracking speed. Now, not drone damage, that's quite interesting. Most drone ships have a drone damage bonus. This does not, it's just hit points and tracking speed. So your drones are more durable and they're more accurate. So this is all about the accuracy. And this is the fit I made for this. 2 125mm railguns with iron charge for range. Again, a tracking computer 1 with a range script to push the range of the guns up to 28, because this is a drone boat, it's supposed to be kitey. A 1 meganewton afterburner for speed moves us up to 767, not too much faster than we're going now in our Corvette. A small cap battery for cap, capacitor power relay for cap, small armor repairer 1, and a drone damage amplifier 1 here. So that pushes the damage up to 47, which is a little bit more than we're doing now. Rigs are locus coordinator, that increases the optimal range, which then pushes out the fall off as well. So the fall off goes all the way to 28. This one here is a small drone control range augmenter. This is really good. It adds 15 kilometers onto your drone control range. So that would then let us give commands to drones from 40 kilometers away. But again, it's not all that fast. It's not all that tanky. It does 47 DPS. And the problem we're going to have with Tristan is that it's kind of designed to have 5 drones. As we see, it does have 25 megabits, so it can use 5 small drones. But we, at the moment, only have skills to use 2. Drones 3 and drones 4 are not that long. I've put them close to the top of the list here. They are. Drones 3 only takes 7 hours. Drones 4 takes about a day and a bit, so it's kind of like 2 days to get up to 4 drones. Drones 5, if we have a look in the skill sheet in the drones category, drones 5 will take 9 days, 18 hours, so nearly 10 days to get to drones 5. So we would have to wait about 2 weeks before we can get the most out of this ship. It's still a decent option, but I think I've come up with a better one. And that is in the shape of this Maulus. Now, Maulus is really meant to be used for PvP in a fleet, because its bonuses are only to using remote sensor dampeners, which reduce the range and increase the target lock time of enemy ships. Completely useless against NPCs, really good against players. So this ship is very much designed to do E-War support in a PvP role. But it does have 20 drone bandwidth, so it can use 4 light drones. And the fitting screen tells us it does have 2 turrets. This is the fit I've come up with for this ship. You will notice the power grid is blinking red because this fit doesn't actually fit, but I'll explain about that in a few moments. In the high slots we have 2 150mm railgun 1s armed with some iron charge, and the fall off range is all the way out to 37 kilometers. That's because we have this tracking computer 1 and 2 locus coordinator 1s here. Now these locus coordinators, if you read the description, this ship modification is designed to increase the optimal range of the ship's hybrid turrets at the expense of increased power grid need. That's why the power grid is blinking minus 2.2. But there is a skill you can do which lowers that. If we go into the skill sheet again and go into the rigging section, we have none of these skills, so we'll just click all skills. Hybrid weapon rigging. This skill reduces the drawback of hybrid weapon rigs by 10% per level. To get that skill, if you click requirements, we would need to train jury rigging to levels 1, 2 and 3 and then do this skill. And that's going to take quite some time, and we need to buy the skill books because we don't have any of the skills. But when we see, this is at the moment 2 of these rigs, each of them is increasing the power demand of our 150mm turrets by 10%. If we can get the rigging skill up, that will reduce that by 10%, so it will take it down to like 9%. So then we might have enough power grid to fit. If not, we'll just fit 125mm guns and that'll be fine. And then we'll just find some 125s. Railguns small, 125. 125s fit absolutely fine. The range drops to about 28, but 28 is still pretty good. Movement wise, we have a 1 meganewton afterburner 1, and this ship is extremely fast. It goes over 900 meters a second with just a basic cheap Tech 1 build it yourself 1 meganewton afterburner. The ship is really, really fast. and it has a small cap battery 1 and a cap recharger 1 for capacitor. Low slots are a small armour repairer 1, a micro auxiliary power core to give ourselves enough power, and a drone damage amplifier. And this also does about 47 DPS, which is pretty much the same as the Tristan, but this ship is a lot faster. And if you'll notice, the targeting range of this ship is 71 kilometers, because it's designed for long-range E-War support. That's why it has 4 mid-power slots, because the sensor dampeners occupy mid-power slots, but I've used them for cap because I'm using this for PvE. And the final rig is the drone control range augmenter. So this ship can just fly around at 900 meters a second, target things out to 71 kilometers and send drones up to 40 kilometers away. So I think this is what we're going to go with, because we don't need drones 5 to get the most out of the ship. All we need is drones level 4. And we know that it will fit with 125mm guns, and if you want to up gun to 150s, we'll have to buy some skills and hope that the skills we learn are enough to reduce the extra power need of these 2 rigs to allow us to fit 150s. So I think that's what we're going to do. So in Notepad I have made a shopping list, and the shopping list comes to a total of 7 million ISK, and that is all the blueprints we need to build everything on this fit. Now, we don't need to build all of it straight away. The things we need is the ship itself, obviously. We already have the 1 meganewton afterburner. We already have the small cap battery. We already have the cap recharger. We already have the small armor repairer 1. And we already have 125mm railgun 1. So that's not too bad. So we can actually simulate turning off the stuff we don't have, which is this, this, and this. So this is what this ship would look like if we had the ship straight away. And that, we don't have that. One thing we really must buy is a micro auxiliary power core, which costs 1.5 million for the blueprint, which is quite expensive, and it needs quite a lot of stuff, but it doesn't need anything like megasite. These are all common minerals, they just need quite a lot of it. So we would definitely need to buy that. Drone damage amp is nice, but it does only add 5 DPS, so it's not an absolute must. That's 500,000 for that blueprint. The rigs are quite interesting. The one we really need is the drone control range augmenter, so we can send the drones out to 40 kilometers and then use the ship's extreme speed to stay way out of trouble. So we would definitely need to buy that. And as we see, this needs these salvage materials, which we have never seen before, because we've never actually done them. And to build them, we would have to do jury rigging 1, 2, and 3, and then drones rigging 1 to be able to build it. So again, we'd have to take jury rigging to 3, but we were going to do that anyway to get hybrid weapon rigging to reduce the power need of our hybrid weapons rigs. So it's not a waste of time doing that skill, because we're going to have to do it anyway for the other rigs. Now, to get these salvage, what you do, you target Lucky Wreck, you fire a salvager beam at it. Salvager beams occupy a high power slot, and then you wait, and then eventually you either get something or you get nothing. And the stuff you get is all this burn logic circuit, charred microcircuit, and broken drone transceiver things. It's quite a slow process, but it does all add up. So then we would need to go and buy a salvager blueprint, which is another 300,000. And salvagers do need megasite to be built. How much megasite do we have? We still have 14, which is a respectable amount, so we can at least buy 1 salvager. And the salvagers will just go on a corvette. We'll make a corvette with 2 salvagers and a micro warp drive, so it can just fly around really quickly, get to the wrecks and harvest them with the salvagers. And then we can build this fit. There is another module which we could have used, which is a high power slot, which is a drone link augmenter. And this also increases the drone control range by 20 kilometers instead of 15. So that'd be really rather nice. Let's have a look at the blueprint. No orders found matching your search criteria, so it's obviously not available in this region. This does need a lot of megasite, 22, so we'd need to find a lot more stuff before we can build one of these. And it does take up a high power slot, so we'd be losing one of our guns, which isn't really, it's not great. I mean, I'd rather not lose my guns. So that is the future. That is what we're aiming towards. 7 million ISK. And we have 174,000, so we have some work to do. But luckily, we have our faithful old corvette to do that work in. And where we're going to work right now is Bala. We went to Stame, we ran out all the asteroid belts in Stame at 0.6. We never had a problem. It was dead easy. And then we somehow managed to complete a refuge, even though we got down to 23 structure hit points, and we were about a nanosecond away from death. But we didn't die. We managed to complete the site, and we managed to complete it without any of the big boys in the big ships coming and interrupting us, and we got a whole load of loot. So that was really, really cool. So let's undock and do some killing, shall we? Okay, here we are in a 0.5 system for the first time. So let's have a look at these belts.
Warp drive active.
Lots of people in local. There's some homefront operations here, so we'll just ignore those. There's a couple of refuges, rather find burrows. There is something we can do to try and find burrows, and we'll talk about that after I completed all the asteroid belts here. Because we know we're cap stable, I can just have the armor repairer running all the time. Okay, Serpentist Defenders. These guys are in Tristan's. Don't worry, they won't actually launch drones at us because NPCs don't launch drones. But they are 12,000 ISK each. That's 24,000 right there. If you remember, back in the 08 systems, we were fighting initiates that were worth 3,000 each. So these guys are worth 4 of them each. So this is like fighting 8 of these guys. They're not going to be as hard to kill as 8 of the small guys. At least, I hope not. I have set keep it range to 20 kilometers. Because our guns go out to 21. I believe it was, I said it's in 19,500. Okay, that was a big hit. But that's alright, because our little armor repairer is cap stable, and it repairs, I think, almost half our armor every cycle. Which is a bit crazy, but that's where we are just now. Problem is, we have such little armor that as soon as I hear the low armor warning, it's probably going to be too late to warp out because we just get hit. We've only got 200 hit points in our armor. Maybe if we can do some kind of capacitor skills, we can get rid of the cap power relay and add something, I don't know. We can't fit any armor plates because they take power, so we haven't got any power grid to spare, so ignore what I was saying there. Maybe a layered membrane. This is something which I never ever use because they're really crap. But let's have a look. Where is it? Ship equipment, hull and armor, layered armor coating. No one in the whole game uses these because they're absolute garbage. What they do, they just add a percentage of your hit points, and their fitting is that they need 1 megawatt, which is exactly the same as this cap power relay. So this would add 7.3% onto our armor hit points. 201 plus 17, what, another 15 armor? Is that worth it? I don't know. Probably not. So yeah, welcome to 0.5 when 2 NPCs came close to killing us. But they didn't, because we have lots of capacitors, so we can run all this stuff forever. Remember, this is the compact armor repairer we found in the previous site. The one we had before was doing 79, and this is doing 91, which is a huge improvement. Lots of stuff in there, that's what we like to see. Again, the guidance disruptor and an ECM, and some ammo. The reason we're pushing for Frigate is not because they do huge amounts extra DPS, or some of them will. The ones that have damage per level of Gallente Frigate will end up doing lots more DPS than this ship. It's simply because frigates have a lot more basic hit points. And as we saw, the Maulus is way faster than this thing. It's just basically, for us, it's a direct upgrade from this thing. It's a patroller, which is 10,000, and a safeguard, which is 11,000. So I'm just going to orbit. I'm just going to tell ourselves to orbit, and we'll slowly spiral into target lock range. Right, drones, get the patroller. Because it is utterly ridiculous that our little armor repairer takes us from like 60% armor to full each cycle. That's just nuts. I mean, if I had 10,000 hit points and it did that, I would be absolutely delighted. But I know how this thing is only a little tiny armor rep. It should not be repairing that much of our hit points. That just really exposes how few hit points we actually have. But the fit is working, it's cap stable. I don't have to worry about what is on and what is not and how much cap we have. I can just concentrate on what is actually happening in the fight. That is exactly what I wanted. And it seems to be working alright. I mean, the drones have not struggled to kill these things. Boop. There we go. So far, so good with the maxed out Corvette. I'm not sure how much of the farming I'm going to film. I'm definitely going to film all the asteroid belts the first time we do Bala. And then we'll go looking for burrows and I'll try and show you what burrows look like. And after that, I'm just going to have to go on the grind and present you with some kind of epic montage. Or just this is how many sites I ran, this is how much money I made. Because we need, if you remember, over 7 million-esque to take the next step up in power. Yikes. I should add the Salvager 1 blueprint to the shopping list before I forget.
Warp drive active.
Uh-oh. 4 bad guys here. Yeah. Although luckily this guy is within range. So let's just get the drones on him right now. And indeed get the guns on him. The guns will hit beyond fall off. Okay, now they all know we're here. I think I'm gonna have to kite them all. If I can. Oh, dear lord, these guys are fast. That's not what I want to see. Just fly in a straight line and try and kite them. We can only target 3 things, because we ain't got no skills to target anymore. We'll have to do target management at some point, I suppose. Right, drones, let's get this patroller next. We should try and orbit them. Lots of sensor damps. Hope we don't bounce off an asteroid. That would be not fatal, but it would cause us a lot of damage. Because you have no control over the path your orbit takes. The game just does it. And it'll fly you headfirst into obstacles all the time. Right, drones, go for this one next. Let's orbit him. Get the guns on. Alright, 4 guys at like 9 grand each. Not bad. We took him. When I saw there was 4 of them, I kind of got excited because I was expecting one of them was a commander, but it was not to be. But yeah, 0.5 is definitely going to be our hunting ground from now on. 0.5, 0.6. As well as combat sites. I will be definitely much more interested in doing combat sites now. Now we have a cap stable rep, and we can run around at top speed. Nothing else I can do survivability wise. Dear God, we've come a long way. And we've also come a long way from these wrecks. Wow. And turn the rep off just to preserve some cap. Because warping does use some capacitors, so our fit is only just cap stable. So if we warp a big distance, it might destabilize it. There we go, there's another backup drone. We may end up buying a Hobgoblin... a Hornet 1 blueprint. Oh yeah, that is on the shopping list. 300,000 for that. They need titanium pyrite, oxygen, noxium. Easy stuff. So we can build our own drones. If we were allowed to sell things on the market, drones would be a good place to start. Ammunition and drones are a really good place for new players to start, because they're in high demand. People leave their drones behind all the time, they get killed all the time, and obviously people fire ammo all the time. So ammo and drones, always in big demand. The probe scanner's got an orange line under it, which tells me there's an update. A drone gathering, yeah, I don't think we'll be doing that, because drones don't drop nothing. You will notice that the 2 refuges are gone, because big boys came in the big boy ships and cleared them out in about 5 seconds. That's just how it goes. But there are places we can go that the big boys may miss. Because the big boys are interested in running as many different solar systems as they can and clearing out all the sites in these systems. So they tend to do a big circular route. And there are systems which are not on a circular route. They're down little dead ends. And that means if the big boys go down there, they would then have to double back on themselves and visit places they previously cleared out. They don't like doing that. So those systems can accumulate quite a lot of sites. So that's kind of the plan for after we've finished Bala. We've been to 3 asteroid belts. We've gotten to 3 huge fights. So this place is going bonkers so far. I didn't check where that other wreck was. Patroller. If that had been a commander wreck that someone had left, I definitely would have had a look inside it. Very probably would have stolen whatever was inside it and then just sat in a station for 15 minutes while our timer ran out. There is a station here and there's structures here as well. Giant secure containers. Someone obviously mines here all the time and they dump all their stuff in there. I've seen a surprising lack of burrows. Nobody runs burrows because they're a pain in the ass to run and they don't give you an escalation to a big site. So I'm not sure why I haven't seen many burrows. Very strange indeed.
Warp drive active.
Is that it then? Have we killed all the NPCs in Bala? Maybe we have. Ain't no one here. One of the better looking asteroid belts, this one. Gorgeous.
Warp drive active.
Now we're halfway through Bala. Killed quite a few things. I mean, they're worth like between 8 and 11,000 each ship we kill, so we're earning money at least. And that is what we need. And obviously, as well as money to buy the blueprints and the skill books, we also need a ton of everything. A ton of all the loot to get lots of minerals. And salvage, because salvage is becoming a priority. Aha! Here we go, a fight. Okay. We're totally gonna get stuck in these rocks, man. Let's just approach them. Let's just go. These guys are 11,000 each. These guys are gonna hit hard. I'm not overly happy about where they're positioned, so I'm gonna double click, like, between the rocks. Good, that guy spotted us. We'll just get the guns, and as soon as we get a lock, we'll send the drones. Go. Go, drones, go. I do not want to try and orbit these guys, not with where they are in this asteroid belt. I'm just going to kite them in a straight line. No way was I going to try and orbit them in this mess. We just bounce off the rocks, kill our speed, and then they get a really good hit on us. Right, that one next please, drones. Thank you. Let's just double click back towards the first wreck. Bit of a handbrake turn. Dropped our speed, lost a big load of shield. Once we get back up to speed, the damage will tail off. Lovely. I'm just trying to make sure they all die in the general location of the first wreck, so I don't have to move too far. That's the freedom of thought that having a cap stable fit gives you. You can plan like that. You can make plans like that. Let's just go straight up this way. And straight back down. Well, considering these guys were 11 grand each. Considering these guys were 11k each, we are not even in armour. Only barely past half shield.
Skill training completed.
Apparently I've completed a skill. What was that we've just done? Drone avionics 2. Wonderful. That has extended our drone control range by 5 kilometres out to 30. So now, in the Maulus, that will be even longer. What would that be in the Maulus? Let's quickly have a look at the Maulus fit. 45 kilometres. Even better. I really like the idea of the Maulus. I mean, I'm kind of tempted to... Ooh, another modal light neutron. That's the second of these we found. That's awesome. I'm kind of tempted to change the fit even more, so it's even more of a drone boat. Like, maybe lose the locus coordinators and put on another drone control range augmenter. Because that only increases the CPU of the ship. So if we put 3 of these rigs on, the drone control range goes out to 75. Interesting. And then we can just use the guns to pick off anyone they come. I mean, their guns still go out to 31. I'm saving that fit and calling it 3 times drone range. That's very interesting, isn't it? 75 kilometer drone control range, 71 kilometer targeting range, and it flies at 900 meters a second. That's naughty. And I love it. That might be what we're doing. That is one of the best things about EVE Online.
Active.
Fitting your ships is an art form. And as an art form, there are no wrong answers. Well, sometimes there are. Mixing weapons and trying to do shield and armour. There are fits that do that, of course, and do it well, but they're very niche. It is an art form. Tinkering with your fit is something you must get really good at. Every time something changes, anytime you find a new module, anytime you complete a skill, anytime you earn more money, look around, see what you can do to your fit to change it. It will serve you well. Lots of people get a fit they're happy with, and then they never change it because it kind of still works. Even though sometimes game mechanics change, or ships have their abilities changed, or modules get rebalanced. Because the ship kind of sort of still works, they don't bother to update the fit. I always do. You must keep on top of the current meta of the game. Right, nobody here.
Warp drive active.
Right. Another belt with 4, and there's one all off on his own, so let's go for him first. Let's just double click towards him. Turn the afterburner on, get the drones out. 9, 8, 9 and 9. And we can't sensor lock anything until we get within 19 kilometers because there'll be multiple sensor damp. Yeah, 3 of them have got damps on us. Come on, give me a lot, give me a lot, give me a lot, give me a lot, give me a lot. There we go, go. Go, go, go. Go boys, go. Go get him. Let's keep that guy at range. Here come the other guys. Let's orbit him, not keep at range. Orbit. We can get away with this because we're not really in the asteroids, although we might be very soon if we pull range too far. Good, first one's about to go down. First one's about to go down. Had to say it twice to make sure it happened. Then we're not orbiting anything anymore, so we need to orbit this guy. Low shield warning, who cares about that? Usually that would be when that's just a notification to tell me to turn my armour up, to turn my armour repairer on, but I've had that on all the time. Right, that guy's dead. Let's orbit this one, get the drones on him. Have we seen an empty wreck so far? I don't think we have. I'm beginning to rethink my ion charge strategy, because this ship seems to be not fast enough to keep these guys at the optimal range. So I'm thinking we'll build some thorium and actually get more damage. See, we're trying to keep it range, but this guy's just much faster than us. He's trying to orbit us, and I'm trying to keep it range at him. And I'm unable to pull away from him because I'm not fast enough. Or agile enough. So I think the long range idea is a bit of a bust. That's how you learn, you try things out. Give me a warp disruption field generator, please. Pretty please. I'd really like it. It'd be really nice. Small enduring armor repairer. Enduring means it needs less capacitor to run. That is interesting, because I said we might take off the cap power relay. Well, we can simulate it. That's a good thing about the simulator. You can simulate things. Armor repairers, small, enduring, stick it on. Does it let us take this off? No. Right, that's that question answered. How much does this repair? 79 every 6 seconds. The one we're using is the compact. 79 every 6 seconds. Same. So the compact one requires less power grid and CPU to fit, and the enduring uses less capacitor. There's a ship scanner. Ship scanners, medium power module. and it tells you not what is in the cargo of the ship, because we found a cargo scanner before. This tells you what the modules on the ship are. You have to scan about 2 or 3 times, and each time you scan it tells you more of what someone's fit is. It's a good way of gathering information on what people are fitting their ships with. 2 more asteroid belts to go.
Warp drive active.
Yes, I know.
The capacitor is empty.
I know. That was a low capacitor warning, and then it instantly went, capacitor is empty, because we're warping quite a distance. The longer distance you warp, the more capacitor it needs, and it takes all of the capacitor needed for the warp as soon as it initiates the warp. There are, of course, skills under navigation which prevent that warp drive operation. Yeah, 10% reduction in capacitor need of an initiating warp per skill level. Do we care about that? Not really. It's an absolute luxury skill. You just really don't need it unless you're in a huge system. Okay, defenders, I believe, are the guys that nearly killed us. Oh, sweet lord. These guys are 12 and 13,000 each. Let's just go straight up. Straight up. Get the drones out. Go, drones, go. Because they are in the middle of the field, and I do not want to get caught in the field. I want to try and kite them at this range. Because just 2 of these guys in Tristan's damn near killed us on the first belt in here, so I am running away. Especially worried about that protector, because he's 13,000 and he's got blasters. Yep. Yep. And yeah, that was going to happen, because he was yellow box and he wasn't firing, and that meant short range weapons. Whoa! Oh! No, get the protector, get the protector. We need to get rid of him. He's the one with the blasters. He's the threat. Dear God, when something hit, it just, like, it took us down to, like, 1/3 armor straight away. Crikey. Even our drones are having trouble catching up with this guy because he's so fast. Yowza! I kinda wanna double click just to get closer to that wreck, because we're 45 kilometers away already. Good, the protector's nearly dead. Crikey, that was terrifying, man. Whatever hit us really, really hard. I have disabled the enemy scroll, because I can see what the damage enemy is doing. I can see it here on my hit point meter. I don't need numbers to tell me. But if I had turned that on, in the log in messages, which you can find in utilities, log in messages, you can scroll back through and see what hit you and how badly it hit you. That must have been a wreck or a smash that pounded us. Yikes, that was a tough fight. I mean, 2 of them nearly killed us, but we killed them, and then we met 3 of them, and they almost killed us, but we got them. So this little corvette, as tooled up as it is with all Tech 1 gear that we made with our own fair hand, is able to farm 0.5 systems. I like that. I like that a lot. Have we had a bounty tick yet? Yes, 113,000 for killing things in this system. Nice. We'll be at 7 million in no time, I tells you. No time at all. There we go. This is new. This is a hull repairer. These things, do not use them in combat. They're absolute garbage. Look at that. 27 hit points repaired every 27 seconds. So this effectively repairs 1 hull hit point per second. They're very, very slow, so you cannot use them in combat. Breaks down into a decent amount of stuff, so thank you for that. And we have more rolled tungsten carbide plates. Compact plates. 1 more to go. I kind of want to get these plates on our ship, but can we do that? So any way we can get them on? We're way over power, which means we'd have to drop back down to 75 mils, and I don't want to do that. I really don't. So we're not going to do that. And we're finding lots of new items we haven't seen before. Whether or not that is because they only appear on the loot table of these guys, I don't know, or whether it's just because the random rolls on the loot table have never rolled them before. Also don't know. All I do know is that we're finding new stuff all the time, and that's really cool. There are many, many, many items in EVE Online. One more belt to go.
Warp drive active.
And no one in this belt. Okay. Now we need to make plans. I said I wanted to find a system that only had one way in and one way out, and I think I've found one. It's actually next door to our home system, so let's head home and drop off all this loot before we get killed. Okay, we're back at the home system with the thorium blueprint. We have reprocessed all the stuff we didn't want to keep. We're keeping all this stuff because it might come in handy at some point in the future. Because we know that this ship is still, even though it goes 717 meters a second, it's not fast enough to stay away from the short-range enemies. And even the long-range enemies aren't really staying at long range, so I would quite like to have an alternative ammunition in our bay. We've got this Guardian lead. I mean, that'll run out sooner or later. That at least is a little bit shorter range than the iron charge is. But I do really want to have some thorium on board as well, because thorium will bump up our damage to almost 40 DPS. It's just about the same as the drones, but it's a little bit shorter range. I may at some point in the future buy the antimatter charge S blueprint. In fact, we'll have some antimatter, because we've got more of that than we have thorium at the minute. We may very well buy the antimatter charge S, because if we keep it on simulate and drag the antimatter in, even using the high cap range, shortest range, high damage ammo, we're still cap stable. The turrets end up doing more damage than drones, but there we are. But the optimal range is like 4.5 kilometers and the fall off is 10, so it's really short range. This is really for just when enemies like the blaster firing guys we've been having problems with get too close. Because the problem with iron is that they're well within the optimal range, and that means that the tracking is negatively affected. So we need to have some sort of alternate shorter range ammo. So with that in mind, we're going to build a whole load of thorium. No, not research, build. A couple of thousand, something like that. Okay, so now we've got some alternate ammunition on board. Let's go next door and see if there's any sights in this dead-end system. Yes, but one of them is a forlorn hideaway that has cruisers in it, and we ain't having none of that, at least until we get a frigate. Ain't no way I'm taking a corvette into that site. Drone cluster, we might be able to do that. All we would get is bounty. Oh, let's just go in at 20.
Warp drive active.
The drone cluster is like the drone version of the hideaway. It's the easiest one. Not many people run drone sites, because I don't believe any of them give an escalation. And for our purposes, they don't drop any loot either, which is a bit of a pain. Okay, we're at a pretty good range, so let's just turn everything on, target everything, and launch our drones. The rogue drones are weakest to EM and then thermal secondary, but I'm not overly worried about that. We'll shoot them with kinetic and thermal. This site will have a chance of a sentient commander drone spawning, and they will drop something, and the only things they drop are drone specific loot items. If we're going to be building drone rigs, then we probably will be running these kind of drone sites so we can salvage the drones to get the drone salvage goods. In fact, after I've run this site, I'm probably going to save the location in one of the wrecks, and we'll try and get a salvager built. Put this in the temp folder, 2 days submit. Yeah, just little drones. Little babies. I think there's 3 drone sites. There's the drone cluster, there's the drone assembly, and there's the drone gathering. No, there's 4 different ones, sorry. There's the cluster, the collection, the assembly, and the gathering. Gathering is like a den, so that'll have heavy missile turrets and stuff. Drone assembly is the drone refuge. Collection and cluster are the ones we need, so the 2 that begin with C are the ones we want. Very simple to remember that. This guy's coming a bit close. Just let the drones kill him. Why expend ammunition when I don't have to? Come on, little drones, you can do it. Take him down. This is a 0.8. How many asteroid belts are here? Oh, millions. Okay. Looks like we'll be doing a tour of this place after we've killed all the drones in this little site. Oh, that was a good hit. I like that one. That was good. And more drones. No sentient. Sentient has the same chance of spawning as every other commander, which is only 5% per site, so they're fairly rare. Still can't believe we got 2 of them in 2 asteroid belts back to back. That was nuts. Someone has, in a big ship, come in and they have done that forlorn hideaway, so well done, whoever did that. You're a braver man than I, probably because you're in a much better ship. Let's just use up this lead stuff. Just quickly change the keep it range to 14, which is where this wants to be. And then this one, like that. God, we're a million miles away now. Come on guys, let's get back to the site. God, we've strung everything out. What an idiot. Silverfish, 7,500. The money's alright, even if the loot is non-existent. I will take it. See, if we were in the Maulus, we'd have this guy targeted and be swarming him with our own drones by now. We can but dream. Oh, he's firing laser beams. Pew! How dare you put me into low shield warning, you swine. Right, no boss, end of sight. Bring the drones back. Harvest equipment, salvagers, salvager 1 blueprint. I should go to ballot and pick that up. So I'll do that and we'll see if we can build a salvager. Alright, salvager blueprints has been acquired and it has been put in for a little bit of material research, but it turns out that I am an idiot. I'd forgotten that we had literally just started a 2-hour thorium charge job. So the Rex would despawn after 2 hours. So by the time we built the thorium and then built the salvagers, the Rex would have despawned. So we'll not be doing that. So whoops. However, I did find something interesting on the map. This is system here, Crawler. As we see, it is dead end. There is only one way in and one way out. And it's one way in and one way out is the system next door, which is Atron. And that only has 2 ways in and 2 ways out. And that goes to Bawain. And Bawain only has 2 ways in and 2 ways out. And that leads to Brapiel, and Brapiel has lots of connections. So, I think we should chill out down here. When the big boys and the big ships are clearing sites, they don't like going into dead-end systems because it means doubling back. And this one is a dead-end system at the end of a long chain. So if they're going to run combat sites in Crawler, they will have to have come through Atron and Babylon, and then they would have to double back and go through 2 systems that they had already cleared out. So I think this place is going to be good. And Babylon is 0.5, Atron and Crawler are 0.6, and Crawler has 16 asteroid belts, Atron has 19, and Bawain has 9. They're a decent length away. 10 jumps isn't anything, it's not any huge distance in EVE Online. I mean, we're not wedded to living in Noshis at all. So I think when we come back, we shall go and have a look at Crawler, And hopefully, at some point, we'll have some thorium and some salvagers that we can do that stuff in. So come back for that. I hope you're still enjoying this series. I know things are going slowly, but our little Venator Corvette has been maxed out. We cannot do anything better with that thing. So we're now on the grind to getting a frigate. So come back and see how we get on with that. And until then, do look after yourself. And I'll speak to you again soon.